Well, longtime KUTV sportscaster and the voice of the Utes, Bill Marcroft, passed away this weekend. Now, Bill, he was hilarious, he was generous, he was passionate. As you'll hear, he was a mentor to ex-athletes and aspiring sportscasters. After 3 seasons and as an analyst with Bill Howard in the late 60s, Bill Marcroft became the play-by-play voice of the Utes in 1969 until he retired after the Utes beat Pitt in the 2005 Fiesta Bowl. He anchored at KUTV for decades. He called Ute games while Paul James was anchoring at KSL and calling Cougar games. It put them both right in the middle of the rivalry for a decade before the Jazz even moved to town.
BYU has had a swagger that was impossible for Utah fans to stomach. BYU thought that they owned the world and that they were holier than thou.
They did. And
they are?
And we were.
Marcroft didn't let the rivalry spoil a friendship.
He called me and said, "It's a sad day to see you leave the University of Utah, but I know that you will do a great job down at BYU."
Bill called games up and down the state.
He called the first live television game out of Wildcat Stadium back in 1965 when Weber State played Idaho and beat them 14-7 to share for the Big Sky title.
Bill called the prep game of the week in the 70s when Jeff Judkins played at Highland High.
And then when I got to college, he was definitely, to me, he's the best sounding announcer that I've ever heard.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind to Marcroft is his laugh.
I said it's a lifelong love affair with the University of Utah.
Sideline gets to the 20, jukes a man out of his shoes, gets to the 30.
As the voice of the Utes, when there were fewer media voices, Bill had the power to change names.
When I came to the University of Utah, I was Frank DOLCE until my grandmother came to visit with my parents. He asked my grandmother the correct pronunciation, and she told him that it was DOLCE. And from that moment on, I became Frank DOLCE.
And people ask, what are your favorite games? And the games are not what's my favorite. My favorite are the people, the players. Working with the young athletes keeps you young and keeps you vital.
Marcroft loved to mentor former players and young broadcasters.
He was a guy that taught me a lot of lessons just kind of about life and about being a good person, a good human being.
He calls me every year right before the season starts and just asks me how my team's going to be, what's going on.
Bill, I said, Bill, I would like to be your intern and learn the business. He said, all right. I said, okay, what do I have to do? And he goes, get your butt down here. Let's go.
Well, I first met Bill at career day when I was in the 9th grade. He came to speak to our class, and he just confirmed what I had believed as a kid, that I always wanted to be on TV.
He just had so much passion about sports. He knew sport inside and out. But above and beyond that, Bill was a wonderful human being. He was a great father. He was a great husband. And on top of that, a veteran. And so he would be greatly missed.
I don't know if there's too many other guys that cared more about the university, more about charities, spent more time doing it, had a bigger heart. I mean, that's why you could have fun with him, because at the end of the day, he was a blessing to be around.
He was my biggest cheerleader. And David, when you have somebody like that you respect, it just means the world to you. And a lot of tears were shed this morning.